this may be a broader kind of philosophical question, but I'm just curious, respond however you want. So this all comes down to when you were talking about a woman's desire to make things better and to improve upon and to, is, I think, generally true of many of our giftings or our strengths that then turn into our downfall or our weaknesses or whatever, when it's outside of the submission or the lordship of Jesus or the authority of God as the ultimate, not what I want.
Yes.
And so my mind goes to some people, and even myself at different seasons of life, I've had trouble with the cognitive dissonance between, okay, I know there's something about that authority structure that you're talking about that I'm supposed to really adhere to and value and take and hold on to, but either my mind or my experiences or something, I just keep this gap between that. So this may be a weird question, but respond however you want. Are there ways that you in your life have been able to create that submission, even practically speaking, have been able to bring yourself more into alignment with that submission despite, I mean, some of it I know is just sheer kind of surrender and willpower to just go, it's a daily surrender kind of thing. But are there any, I mean, is it just diving more into the Word or things about that?
Well, I think that it's one thing to understand what the Scripture says. It's another thing to be committed to what the Scripture says. But then the third thing is you've got to apply what the Scripture says. Mm-hmm. Most of our problems happen in the area of application. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty flexible about application. Like, I don't like to get gender roles, for instance, too nailed down that a woman only does this and a man only does this.
Yeah.
I think there are some things that men and women do that kind of can become symbolic of who they are and where they are in the relationship. But for the most part, I don't think we ought to spend a lot of time getting too particular about those kinds of things. Yeah. But I think what I discovered is mostly in my relationship to the other leaders in the church, the elders in the church. And I've discovered over the years, both from other people and what they've told me about how they really don't look forward to their board meetings, and it's such a drag and it's so much stress and everything. That's because they don't understand the issue of authority. That what they want is that they want their opinion and their vision and what they want to see happen in the church is more important to them than their submission to the elders of the church. And I had to learn to really apply that by restraining myself, because I'm a strong leader, I have strong opinions, and a lot of times I think I'm absolutely right. And so I have found that when I take that role, then I'm in with the elders who represent authority, and I'm part of that. But my opinion then becomes more important to me than the unity of this team. And so I have to empower them to be the elders that God has placed over me, and not be so concerned that I'm so right about this issue. And so I've had to work at that. I've not always done that. Sometimes I've gotten frustrated. Sometimes I've gotten angry when I'm talking and the people don't seem to get what I'm saying or don't agree with it. Yeah. And I've found that my anger and my frustration never accomplished anything. The elders didn't know what to do with it, So what are we going to do now? We're sorry. We don't think that's right. Yeah. So it doesn't work, and so I've had to learn to restrain myself.
Yeah. I just lost my other question I was going to ask you.
Let me just add one other thing. I'm in a very interesting position now because I'm a pastor at large. I'm not on the staff of any church, and therefore I'm not under any eldership. So I have to look for ways to apply this principle of submission to authority.
Yeah.
And the way I've done it, and it just feels very freeing to me, is that I have connected to some of the leaders in the church that I happen to attend. And I've just let them know I'm here. I want to serve and strengthen the church any way I can. I want to support what you're doing in the church. I'm not here to change this church. There's ways that I can help. But I'm only going to help, and I'm only going to serve, and I'm only going to be involved when you ask me. And so I found that that is a way that I tangibly submit myself to the leadership. Otherwise, I may want to go in and say, well, you need to be doing this, and this isn't right, and why are you doing it that way? And you can go into any church and start asking those questions just from your own perspective. But for me to go into a church, I'm not there to change the church. I'm there to be under the authority of the leadership of that church. And I do it by saying, I'll help in any way, but I only am going to do what you ask me to do.